तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलम् श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नाना शास्त्र विचारणैकनिपुनो सद्धर्म संस्थापको लोकानां हितकारिणो त्रिभुवने मान्यौ शरण्याकरो राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्द भजना वन्दे नमत्तालिको वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्रीजीव गोपालको। Hare Krishna, welcome all the devotees to Bhakti-sastri class. We are studying Nectar of Devotion and we are on chapter 2, understanding the definition of sadhana bhakti. Understanding the definition of sadhana bhakti. So in the previous class, we looked at the definition. We started with the definition. And we also saw that there are two types of sadhana bhakti. One is called Vaidhi sadhana and the other is called Raganuga sadhana. Mhm. So I think we stopped there while discussing the definition of Vaidhi and Raganuga. We stopped there, isn't it? So Vaidhi is defined as following the rules and regulations by the order of the spiritual master. It is performed out of obedience. Um, and such obligatory service is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Hmm? Vaidhi Bhakti should not be taken very lightly in the sense that one should not think Vaidhi Bhakti is ordinary. Even Vaidhi Bhakti is attained after many lifetimes. When once one has accrued Sukriti for many lifetimes, then one can take to the process of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says in chapter 12 that one who cannot always fix one's mind and intelligence on Krishna should practice devotional service, which is just a step below the perfect stage, you know. And then Krishna says, one who cannot even practice devotional service, then one should work for me, offer the results of one's work for me. So, Vaidhi sadhana is also quite rare, and then Raga mark is very, very rare. But Vaidhi is not cheap. Vaidhi is also quite exalted, and great personalities like Narad Muni, the four Kumaras, they attained perfection by the path of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Yeah. Hmm. You remember which paragraph is stopped at last time?
In the Padma Puran, also the same process is advised.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So
Hare
before
Krishna.
yeah. So before that, Vaidhi was discussed. Now, now the topic is the essence of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Because Vaidhi bhakti has lots of rules and regulations. One may say, uh, what if I'm not able to follow a particular rule? So then, uh, an essential point is being explained here that you follow this rule. If you follow this rule, then you are following basically the path of Vaidhi bhakti nicely, right? That one main rule is being explained of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. That's the essence of Vaidhi bhakti. So, what is that rule? Smartavyaha satatam Vishnur Vismartavyo na chatuchit Sarve Vidhi Nishedha Syur Etayor Eva Kinkaraha. This is a very nice verse from Padma Purana. We can memorize this verse. Smartavyaha Satatam Vishnur. Smartavyaha means remember. Satatam means always. So remember always. Whom? Vishnu. So you always remember Lord Vishnu hmm, or Krishna. Vismartavyo na jatuchit. Vismartavya means forgetfulness. So Vismartavya na jatuchit. At any time, at any moment, do not forget him. So here two things are given. One is what? Remember, and the other is do not forget. Remember, do not forget. Remember is what? It's a rule. Do not forget is what?
Prohibition.
It's a
Regulation.
regulation, prohibition. In Sanskrit, you call that as
Vidhi and Nishedha.
vidhi and
Prohibition
nishedha.
is
Yeah, very good. Vidhi and nishedha. So you call that as vidhi and nishedha. Vidhi means what should be done. Nishedha, what should be avoided. So always remember Krishna. That's the vidhi. That's the rule to be followed. Do not forget Krishna. That's the prohibition. Nishedha. So it said smartavya satadam Vishnu. Vismartavya na chatuchit. Sarve vidhi nishedha asyur. Etayor eva kinkaraha. Hmm? All the rules and regulations, sarve vidhi nishedha, are what? They are servant of this particular rule and regulation. Kinkara. Kinkara means the servant. Kim means what? Kara means should I do. So kinkar word is used for the servant. What should I do? Servant is someone who is supposed to be always available to the master, right? With the mood of what can I do for you, sir? What can I do for you? What should I do for you? So kinkara. Kinkara means servant. Kinkaraha. So all these rules and regulations which are given in Vedic sadhana bhakti are servant rules to the rule of always remembering Krishna and never forgetting Krishna. Okay. Hmm. That's the main rule. That's the principal rule in principal prohibition. Fine. So we should follow those rules by which we receive the benefit, and we should refrain from things which are considered sinful. Hmm. So the purpose of all the rules, go to Mangalarti, chant Hare Krishna, read Srimad Bhagavatam, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, honor Krishna Prasadam, serve with the serve the devotees. All these are rules. Circumambulate Tulsi Maharani. The purpose of all these rules are you should always remember Krishna. Correct? And then there are prohibitions, like, for example, do not eat onion garlic, do not watch movies, do not, you know, do prajalpa, right? Prohibitions. So what are that for? Do not forget Krishna. Mm. So there are certain things which help us to forget Krishna. We should not do such things. Mm. Fine. Now, sometimes a person may think that these two instructions are same, one and the same. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. These two are same instructions, just that you have changed the what do you call uh, the presentation of the subject matter. Always remember Krishna, and then you speak it otherwise, so it becomes do not forget Krishna. Hmm. But are these two instructions same?
No,
No,
No, not
Hmm?
no Prabhu.
Are these two instructions same?
no, Vidhis help
No
us to
Prabhu.
These two instructions
remember
are similar.
Krishna, and Nisheda help us not to forget.
Yeah, very good. So though it sounds similar, but these two instructions are not same. Why it's not same? Because to always remember Krishna, you have to do certain things. And to not forget Krishna, you have to refrain from certain things. If someone says, I will watch movie and while watching movie, I'll remember Krishna. Hmm. I'll remember Krishna while watching a Bollywood movie. No. So you can't say, no, I'll remember Krishna while watching it. I'm doing very sadhana bhakti. I'm watching a movie, but I'll remember Krishna while watching. So I'm doing very sadhana bhakti. No. You have to do things which will help you remember Krishna, and you have to stop things which will help you forget Krishna. Right. So do's and don'ts. So this is very nicely understood with this example. Like Shishimad Gaur Govind Maharaj used to say, let's say you have a vessel. In that vessel, you are you are pouring some juice. So you are putting effort by pouring the juice into the vessel. But then in the vessel there are holes, and from those holes the juice is getting leaked. Mhm. So similarly, we may do things which are helping us to remember Krishna. But if don't stop doing things which make us forget Krishna, then that nectar of Krishna consciousness that we're drinking will go out from those holes in the heart, and I'll be left with nothing there. So you get and you don't lose. You get Krishna, you don't lose Krishna. You get Krishna by doing the things which are supposed to be done, and you don't lose Krishna by refraining from things which are prohibited. So that's why it sounds similar, but it is not exactly the same. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. This is the principle, and there are certain things which help us to do that, and there are certain things which are uh, detrimental. So then we avoid those things which are detrimental, we accept those things which are helpful. That is the master rule. Okay? Hmm? That's the master rule. By using this principle, we can resolve conflicts between two rules. Like, for example, when we study later on, there's a list of things that should be done, and there are a list of things which should not be done. Okay? Mm. So, example is like you are in the temple hall, and in the temple hall, uh, the deity altar is open, and suddenly some Vaishnava comes in the temple hall. Maybe your spiritual master comes into the temple hall. So one rule is what? That as soon as you see your spiritual master, as soon as you see a sannyasi, you should pay obeisances. That's a rule, correct? Hmm. But then there is another principle. What is that? In front of the deities of the Lord, no one should be given respect. Hmm. There is another principle like that. Now, in this situation, what should be done? I'm in a fix. If I observe one, I am breaking the other one. If I observe the other, then I'm breaking the previous one. So what should I do in that situation? What should be done in that situation?
Higher rules to be followed.
Sorry,
Higher rules to be followed.
what is the higher rule?
Means in front of DT, we should not give respect to anyone.
But then we are supposed to respect the spiritual master.
Yes, that we can mentally give obeisance.
So then, how do you come to know that I should do it mentally?
By following these rules.
Now, how do you resolve this conflict? That okay, there is a principle like this, but I'll offer mental obeisances. I'll do mental pranams. How do you come to know to that conclusion? By understanding this principle, this essential principle. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So by mentally offering my obeisances, I'm still offering obeisances. I'm not doing an activity which will help me forget Krishna. Or I'm also not doing an activity which will offend the spiritual master or offend the sannyasi. I'm mentally offering pranams. Isn't it? So in that way, when you understand the essential principle or rule, then the conflict between rules can be resolved in any situation. Hmm? In any situation. And one remains loyal to the essential principle that I should remember Krishna. That's more important. Hmm? Hmm. So that is
So
the
here,
essence.
here in this case, what we should do? Spiritual master enters and DT darshan is also open.
Prabhu, what you should do is basically it is explained that one should not offer obeisances, but in true understanding, you can do either. You can do either. You know, like for example, if you see the spiritual master, then you can maybe go to some corner of the hall and then offer pranams. No problem. That is also okay. Hmm.
Okay.
Or you can mentally offer pranams. That is also okay.
And mentally offering means that spiritual master also understands this rule, no? So
Why
probably
not?
he will
Why
forget.
not? Spiritual master will also understand.
Yes, he
Spiritual
will.
master is not going to tell you, you did not offer me obeisance in front of the deity. No spiritual master will say anything like that. Right. But you offered your mental pranams to the spiritual master. Now, if you come out of the temple hall and then you see the spiritual master again, then you should offer full pranams.
Thank you.
You should offer full pranams. Then you can't say, I offered you inside, no, in the mind. So why should I now offer outside? Isn't it? So that should not be there.
Prabhuji, it is said that as many times as you see your spiritual master, that many times you should offer obeisances.
Yeah, so mentally you can offer, no, in front of the deity.
No. So even outside, like if we see him say 5 times, 6 times a day, we should keep offering.
Yeah, we should keep offering. What's the problem? You can offer.
Okay.
You can offer if there is a situation that you cannot offer, then you offer mentally. Mm, right?
Got it.
There's no harm in that. But at
Prabhu,
least,
in some
but at least, uh, at the same time, you have to be practical. Like how practical? Let's say you are in a in a park, um, and the spiritual master is walking around the park, and you are standing in one corner of the park. So it's obvious that if the spiritual master is going to walk around the park and make 10 rounds of the park, and you are just standing at one place, then you'll happen to see the spiritual master 10 times. So now you may offer obeisances 10 times, but you may also just not offer obeisances. You're just standing there, the spiritual master is going and coming around. So you may not offer obeisances. So basically, if it's like you are with him and a particular kind of activity is going on and you are seeing him again and again, you may not offer always. If you offer, there's nothing wrong, but if you don't offer, there's no problem you know uh, but let's say you 5 times 10 times at different places on different occasions, when you did not have any such plan and the spiritual master also did not have anything like that, but you somehow other meet him or see him, then you offer obeisances, no problem. It should be done. Sometimes the spiritual master himself may say that don't offer. Then you don't offer in front of him. Maybe you can offer somewhere else, or you can offer in the mind. It depends on the situation, right? Mm.
Hare Krishna, Ravi. Ravi, Samir, I heard that Prabhupada mentioned, like, even if you're doing deity worship and a pure devotee of Lord comes in, you can leave deity worship and you should go and welcome him.
Prabhu, that is true if you are alone in the temple. If you are alone in the temple, not that there are so many devotees already in the temple and then still you should leave deity worship and go and welcome. Mm. You are alone in the temple, there's no one else in the temple, and suddenly while doing puja, let's say your spiritual master enters, or any pure devotee enters, not just spiritual master, any pure devotee enters, you know. So you should greet, you should welcome. But then if there are other devotees to cater to that seva, then it's not that you have to leave your seva and run and welcome the spiritual master. That's not required. Like once Srila Prabhupada happened to visit, I think it was Los Angeles or some place, and many of his disciples went to see him at the airport. But one devotee did not come to see him. Prabhupada came to the temple. Srila Prabhupada gave the class. Still, that devotee didn't come to see him. And then at night, when the day was going to get over, Srila Prabhupada asked, where is that devotee? So he was referring to His Grace Jayananda Prabhu. And then devotee said that he was out for some engagement. So then Prabhupada said, okay, no issues, but ask him to see me tomorrow. So Jayanand Prabhu was out for what? He was out for making some arrangement for Jagannath Rath Yatra festival. So in that case, Srila Prabhupada did not chastise him or was angry with him that why you didn't come to see me at the airport, why you didn't come to see me in the temple in the Bhagavad-gita class, because Prabhupada knew that he is doing something important which I only want him to do. So in that case, Srila Prabhupada was not angry with him. In fact, when he came to meet Prabhupada, Prabhupada was very happy. He welcomed him very warmly because he was engaged in doing something for Srila Prabhupada. Right. So that is there. That principle is also there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Prabhu, sometimes if we are seeing some senior devotees and temple present, we are giving obeisance in the street. By seeing us, they also started doing in the street itself. So I'm having the guilty feeling that so next time I'm waiting for them to come into the temple. Sorry, waiting for them to come into the means house, and we are giving obeisances. Is it okay?
Sorry? No, it's not like that. You can offer obeisances outside also.
By we are giving obeisances, they are also started giving obeisances in the street itself. So because of me, they are also giving obeisances in the street itself.
So that's fine, no? That is their personal mood that they are giving obeisances. Uh, some may give, some may not give. That's okay, that's up to them. So, so if you think now they are giving me they are offering obeisances on the street, so that's why I should not offer obeisances. It's not good. You do your part. If they don't want to offer obeisances on the street, they will not offer. If they want to offer, let them offer. That's up to them, you know. But just because I'll inconvenience them, that's why I should not offer obeisances. So that you should not think.
Okay.
It's not necessary for them to give, but they're giving this their free will, right? Of course, this is true that if the street is very dirty, it's very unclean, then you should not. You should also not. But if it's fine, it's okay, not a problem, then you can. It's a problem.
Hare Krishna.
Sure. Okay, so this also means here that there are certain rules of varnashrama, and purpose of those rules are to help us to remember Krishna and not forget Krishna. So we should not give those rules more importance than this particular principle of remembering and not forgetting Krishna. Those rules are servant rules, not the master rule, right? So we should also consider that very important. Let's read this. Ashokaneja Prabhuji in the Padma Puran.
Hare Krishna. In the Padma Puran also, the same process is advised. There it is said that one should always remember Lord Vishnu. This is called dhyana or meditation, always remembering Krishna. It is said that one has to meditate with his mind fixed upon Vishnu. Padma Puran recommends that one always fix his mind on the form of Vishnu by meditation and not forget him at any moment. And this state of consciousness is called samadhi or trance. We should always try to mold the activities of our lives in such a way that we will constantly remember Vishnu or Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. Whether one concentrates his mind on the four-handed form of Vishnu or on the form of two-handed Krishna, it is the same. The Padma Puran recommends, somehow or other, always think of Vishnu without forgetting him under any circumstances. Actually, this is the most basic of all regulative principles. For when there is an order from a superior about doing something, there is simultaneously a prohibition. When the order is that one should always remember Krishna, the prohibition is that one should never forget him. Within this simple order and prohibition, all regulatory principles are found complete. This regulatory principle is applicable to all varnas and ashramas, the castes and occupations of life. There are four varnas, namely the brahmanas, priests and intellectuals, the kshatriyas, warriors and statesmen, the vaishyas, businessmen and farmers, and the shudras, laborers and servants. There are also four standard ashramas, namely brahmacharya, student life, grahastha, householder, vanaprastha, retired, and sannyasa, renounced. The regulatory principles are not only for brahmacharis, celibate students to follow, but are applicable for all. It doesn't matter whether one is a beginner, a brahmachari, or is very advanced, a sannyasi. The principle of remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly and not forgetting him at any moment is meant to be followed by everyone without fail. If this injunction is followed, then all other rules and regulations will automatically fall into line. All other rules and regulations should be treated as assistants or servants to this one basic principle. The injunctions of rules and regulations and the resultant reactions are mentioned in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, verses 2 and 3. Kansa Muni, one of the 9 sages who came to instruct King Nimi, addressed the king and said, the four social orders, namely the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras, have come out of the different parts of the universal form of the Supreme Lord as follows. The Brahmanas have come out from the head, the Kshatriyas have come out from the arms, the Vaishyas have come out from the waist, and the Shudras have come out from the legs. Similarly, the Sannyasis have come out from the head, the Vanaprasthas from the arms, Grahasthas from the waist, and the Brahmacharis from the legs. These different orders of society and grades of spiritual advancement are conceived in terms of qualification. It is confirmed in Bhagavad-gita that the four social orders and the four spiritual orders are created by the Lord himself in terms of different individual qualities. As the different parts of the body have different types of activities, so the social orders and spiritual orders have also different types of activities in terms of qualification and position. The target of these activities, however, is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, he is the supreme enjoyer. So, whether one is a Brahmana or a Shudra, one has to satisfy the Supreme Lord by one's activities. This is also confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam by a verse which reads, everyone must be engaged in his particular duty, but the perfection of such work should be tested by how far the Lord is satisfied with such activities. The injunction herein is that one has to act according to his position, and by such activities one must either satisfy the Supreme Personality or else fall down from one's position. For example, a Brahmana.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So it's all clear, right? What is explained here by Srila Prabhupada. Everyone has a duty. One should engage in those duties. But ultimately, one should do that for remembering Krishna and not forgetting Krishna. Shridev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. For example, a Brahmana who is born out of the head of the Lord has as his business to preach the transcendental Vedic sounds or Shabda Brahman. Because the Brahmana is the head, he has to preach the transcendental sound and he has also to eat on behalf of the Supreme Lord. According to Vedic injunctions, when a Brahmana eats, it is to be understood that the personality of Godhead is eating through him. It is not, however, that the Brahmana should simply eat on behalf of the Lord and not preach the message of Bhagavad Gita to the world. Actually, one who preaches the message of the Gita is very dear to Krishna and is confirmed in the Gita itself. Such a preacher is factually a Brahmana, and thus by feeding him, one feeds the Supreme Lord directly. Similarly, the Kshatriya has to protect people from the onslaughts of Maya. That is his duty. As for example, as soon as Maharaj Parikshit saw that a black man was attempting to kill a cow, he immediately took his sword, wanting to kill the black man, whose name was Kali. That is a Kshatriya's duty. Violence is required in order to give protection. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna directly gave his order to Arjuna to commit violence on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to give protection to the people in general. The Vaishyas are meant for producing agricultural products, trading them and distributing them. And the working class or Shudras are those who haven't the intelligence of the Brahmanas or the Kshatriyas or the Vaishyas, and therefore they are meant to help these higher classes of bodily labor. In this way, there is full cooperation and spiritual advancement among all the different orders of the society. And when there is no such cooperation, the members of the society will fall down. That is the present position in Kali Yuga, this age of quarrel. Nobody is doing his duty, and everyone is simply puffed up by calling himself a Brahmana, intellectual, or a Kshatriya, soldier, or statesman. But actually, such people are without status. They are out of touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are not Krishna conscious. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is intended to set the whole of human society in proper condition so that everyone will be happy and take profit from developing Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna. Next paragraph. Neha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Vrindavan. Lord Sri Krishna instructed Uddhava that by following the injunctions of the social and spiritual orders of human society, one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as a result of such satisfaction, the whole society gets all the necessities of life amply and without difficulty. This is because, after all, the Supreme Personality of Godhead maintains all other living entities. If the whole society performs its respective duties and remains in Krishna consciousness, there is no doubt that all of its members will live very peacefully and happily. Without wanting the necessities of life, the whole world will be turned into Vaikuntha, a spiritual abode. Even without being transferred to the kingdom of God, by following the injunctions of Srimad Bhagavatam and prosecuting the duties of Krishna consciousness, all human society will be happy in all respects. There is a similar statement by Sri Krishna himself to Uddhava in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 27th chapter, verse 49. The Lord says that, my dear Uddhava, all persons are engaged in activities, whether those indicated in the revealed scriptures or ordinary worldly activities. If by the result of either of such activities they worship me in Krishna consciousness, then automatically they become very happy within this world as well as in the next. Of this, there is no doubt. We can conclude from this statement by Krishna that activities in Krishna consciousness will give everyone all perfection in all desires. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement is so nice that there is no need of even designating oneself Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. Let everyone be engaged in whatever occupation he now has. Simply let him worship Lord Krishna by the result of his activities in Krishna consciousness. That will adjust the whole situation, and everyone will be happy and peaceful within this world. In the Narad Pancharatra, the regulative principles of devotional service are described as follows. Any activities sanctioned in the revealed scriptures and aiming at the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are accepted by saintly teachers as the regulative principles of devotional service. If one regularly executes such service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, then gradually he rises to the platform of serving in pure love of God. Initially.
Okay, thank you. Any question or comment?
Prabhuji, but the present, Hare Krishna. Shall I continue?
Yeah.
The present world is actually isn't it going absolutely against all this. Nobody, I mean, Brahmana, Kshatriyas, and nobody's cooperating with each other.
Yes, that is true. At the present moment, there are no Brahmanas, no pure Kshatriyas, no pure Vaishyas, no pure Shudras. Varnashram system is totally in disarray.
Even the sannyasis are not given the due respect. Or sometimes the sannyasis also don't. Maybe they are also not of the same quality.
Yes, that is also true. So therefore, Varnashrama is not properly maintained and followed in Kali Yuga. That is very true. Therefore, we have this solution of chanting the holy names of Krishna, the Mahamantra. It begins with that. Once you start chanting the holy names, then you become little purified. Then you begin to understand the rules of Varna and Ashrama. So then one must start following them to whatever extent it is favorable for Krishna consciousness. One will follow.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hmm. Yes,
Prabhuji,
Prabhu.
in second last paragraph, it is mentioned, Lord says there, my dear Uddhava, all persons are engaged in activities, whether those indicated in the revealed scriptures or ordinary worldly activities. If by the result of either of such activities they worship me in Krishna consciousness, then automatically they'll become happy. So, Prabhuji, I just want like if you can elaborate this statement, like if something which is not mentioned in the scriptures also, and people do it like out of their mental connotation or like that. So how it is like.
So it's like there are many things which are mentioned in the scripture which are not uh, followed at the present times. And there are many things which we do which is not really a concoction, I mean, an individual concoction, but it has become a social trend. Um, like to give you an example, there are many occupations at present which cannot be called as Vedic occupation, you know, but people take to such occupations. Now you can't tell them give up your job, find some other occupation, and then serve Krishna. You still tell them, okay, continue your job, do what you're doing, and then you serve the Lord. Mm. Like to give you an example, simple example. The Brahmanas, they never took salary in the past time. But then there are many Brahmanical activities at present which people do, like teaching in a school, teaching in a college, whatever. So they take salary. So this is not the Vedic way of doing it. So no, you can't tell them no that from tomorrow you don't take salary. Can't tell them. So what do you tell them? Okay, fine, continue doing what you're doing, but then you offer this Lakshmi and Krishna Seva, whatever is possible for you. Isn't it? Many things like that. For example, if you go to Jagannath Puri, in Jagannath Puri, they don't offer Lord Jagannath many vegetables that we consume in India, isn't it? Hmm? But Srila Prabhupada did not make such rule. Like he went to Russia, he went to United States, he went to European countries. So he did not tell that, okay, in the temple you can only make these vegetables, you can't make these vegetables. He said whatever is locally available and which is not very tamasic, you can offer to Krishna. Isn't it? So there you are doing things which are not really mentioned in the Vedas, not singled out by the Vedic teachings that this should be offered, this should not be offered. Still, you are doing it, but you are doing it with the intention of pleasing Krishna, remembering Krishna, serving Krishna. Acceptable, isn't it? Like, let's say someone is working in a company which is oil industry. Hmm? In Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says, removing oil from the planet is a ugra karma. Ugra karma. But now, if you say, I'll not work in the oil industry, then you can't do that. Maybe you're not working in the oil industry. You're working in a software company which is working for that oil industry. So you can't do that. Let's say you say, I'll not work in the oil industry, I'll open a grocery shop. But then the person working in that oil industry comes and buys groceries from you. So you can't say, I'll not function in this way. You will have to function. That's the trend in the society now. But what to do? So you still offer to Krishna. You're getting it? Hmm. Mhm. So like that, there are certain things which are outside the
Krishna Prabhu.
Vedas. Yeah.
So, why these there is a body parts of different varnas explained here? I mean, is it any
Why the
explanation?
why the varnas and ashrams are explained as the part of the body, human
Ha,
body?
ha.
That is to just tell that as different parts of the body have different functions. So people belonging to different varnas and ashrams have different functions. The hands have certain function, the legs have certain function. Like that, people belonging to different varnas and ashram have certain function. That's why it is explained.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, that's in connection to my earlier question. Prabhuji, doesn't it give an, I would say, an liberty to the people to act whimsically? It would be very easy for the person to say, yeah, see, I'm engaged in such a profession. I'm getting this through the ugra karma or the illegal activities, and now I'm offering to Krishna. So, like,
No, it's not like that, Prabhuji. You see, you are new to Krishna consciousness. So at this stage of your Krishna consciousness, you follow the principle, whatever you do for Krishna, which is verse 9.27 of Bhagavad Gita. Yad karoshi, yad ashnashi, yad juhoshi, dadasi yad. Right? But then as you make progress in Krishna consciousness, which means maybe after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, then you will be naturally inspired from within to go to a more sattvic occupation of life. You'll not continue the same occupation. You will be inspired to make a change in your occupation. Yeah. Because then you will think, why am I doing it unnecessarily just to earn money? I should change. So then if you change, then it's okay because now you are doing it from a proper understanding. But initially, if you just tell people they should change, then that is not very healthy advice. A person may not be ready for that. But in long term, a person will change. Definitely. You'll not be happy in a very rajasic or tamasic environment, and you will also not be very happy in a rajasic or tamasic occupation. You will like to move to a more sattvic occupation of livelihood. It's natural. Any other question?
Hare Krishna. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you check the chat and make a comment on what I've written there?
You put something in the chat. Ultimately, the Guru is the external manifestation of Krishna, and the Paramatma is the internal one. Paying respect to the deities is, in my opinion, simultaneously paying respect to the Guru in a situation where the altar is open and the Guru is also present. Yes, one can think like that also. No problem. One can also think like that. It's okay. Basically, your consciousness should be proper, and there are different ways of offering respect. So you offer it mentally, that's fine. Even if you offer it physically, it's not wrong. But it has to be offered in the right understanding. Any other question? Nagarajan Prabhu, do you have a question? Your hand is up. Is that for reading?
Yes, Prabhu, for reading.
So, no other question. Then, if I start chapter 3 today, I don't think I'll be able to complete the chapter.
Then you can start next week.
I'm thinking how much time I'll need to complete that chapter because I don't want to leave that chapter in between. It's not a very big chapter. It's not also a small chapter. Or should we do it today? Will we be able to complete it? We will leave it for next class. Chapter 3.
It is very big, Prabhuji.
It is big. Okay, then we'll continue in the next class. We'll do chapter 3 next class. And then 4 and 5 together we'll do in another class. That way we'll try to complete. Okay, so see you in the next class. We'll complete chapter 3. You'll start and complete it